Welcome to Shadowy Spectrums. I'm your host, Peter Shelley. The focus of the show will be UFOs and other fantastic mysteries. Tonight it is my special honor to interview WATSU USA, a Japanese UFO researcher and author. Mr. Uso is in Tokyo, Japan, and will speak to us in English. I want to take this moment to express a special thanks to Moon Magazine of Japan for putting me in contact with WATSU and making this interview possible. I consider, another thing I wanted to mention is I consider this interview to be a real breakthrough in international UFO research. And the reason I say that is that as far as I know, this is the first time a Japanese ufologist currently living in Japan has been interviewed by an English language program. It hasn't happened before. And this is the 21st century. Why hasn't it happened before? Anyway, good evening, WATSU. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Thanks. Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, I am so excited about this. I believe I originally contacted you through Moon Magazine back in February 2021.
That is correct.
And appreciate your hanging in there on this project. It's been a lot of work, and I am very grateful. So why don't we start off with, can you give us some information on your background?
Sure.
And how you got involved in the subject of UFOs?
Yeah,
please.
Of course. Okay. Well, I have been actively involved in the Japanese publishing industry as a freelance translator and writer for about 30 years after working for a news and photo agency in Tokyo. And Moon Magazine was one of the clients then, and I knew a lot of people from the editorial department, and they were looking for a translator because they were gathering information from the US and the UK. So naturally, I started to work with them. And I got to know Mr. Shinichiro Namiki. He liked my work, and I came to obtain a broader range of clients. You know, one thing led to another. That's my story.
Well, let me ask you, have you had any personal UFO or paranormal experiences you can share?
All right. Yes, I would say yes. That was about, I don't know, that was when I was 10 years old, fourth grader. And in the evening on a summer day, I was playing with my friends in a park near my house. And this was at western part of Tokyo, by the way. And suddenly, all of the kids in the park looked up the sky simultaneously. We didn't hear anything, but we did so anyway. And, just really strange thing happened. There was a shiny metal ball, just like about, I don't know, just like a basketball,
Really?
Yeah, shiny metal ball flying across the sky from west to east. The surface of the object was reflecting the light of the sun just going down. That was so beautiful.
And what happened? And what was the movement?
Actually, that was it. That was it. We were not wearing watches or anything. It just it's all they say that the engine stops, the radio on the car radio stops, or just all of the electric devices stop working. But that kind of thing did not happen. We were just kids and riding bike and everything in the park. So that was that then.
Well, that's really interesting. And what do you think it was?
I think that was a kind of UAP, just a phenomena. I would say that was metal ball from outer space or from another dimension or anything. That was fun anyway. Fun. We were not very scared at all. That was just fun. That was just beautiful. So that's what I remember from that experience. That's what I feel.
Did you tell your parents?
No, just just classmates.
And did they Did they laugh or what did they think?
Well, actually, I was born in 1962, and about us, that was fourth grader, fifth grader of back then used to talk about that kind of thing, that kind of thing. Really, they found that kind of thing really interesting, and because all kinds of UFOs and just VIP kind of stuff was on TV, primetime TV. So we were pretty much into it back then. Just kids talk, just boys talk about the baseball and everything, right? So we did that kind of thing. We did that kind of talk, very similar in a very similar fashion. You know what I mean?
Was there any sound with the object?
Not at all. Not at all. It was just a metal ball.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Um, anything else you want to share? UFO or paranormal?
Oh, when it comes to UFO paranormal kind of stuff, that was that for me. But you know, there are a lot of friends of mine who experienced that kind of unusual phenomena almost, you know, almost daily. I don't know, maybe he or she was
Daily.
psychic or something, but daily. I don't know. Mm,
Oh, that's interesting.
mhm,
Um, well, I um, wanted to say that in the past there have been some shows mentioning Japanese cases, and but usually they only talk about four famous cases repeatedly. These
exactly.
cases are the Utsubun. Is that the correct pronunciation? Utsubun?
Utsurobune.
Ah, completely different. The Kara incident, the
Uh-huh.
Kofu
Yeah,
UFO,
that's right. Uh-huh.
and Japan Airlines cargo flight 1628.
That is also a famous one, right there.
Yeah, and these are spectacular cases,
Uh-huh. Hmm.
but we will not be discussing those cases in this episode because they
Hmm.
have been repeatedly covered in the past elsewhere.
Hmm.
And the only reason for me to talk about those cases if we could find new information or additional
Hmm.
information.
Hmm.
Just repeating the same cases, I don't see much point. Instead, tonight we will be discussing new or rediscovered material.
Hmm.
The first thing I wanted to do in my initial research into Japanese ufology
Hmm.
was to find a good comprehensive chronology of cases.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And unfortunately, I wasn't able to find what I was looking for exactly, but the closest thing I could find was this book,
Hmm.
which looked pretty interesting. Watsu, tell us about this book and the author, please.
Sure. This book was published in back in 1974 by Takao Ikeda, who was the deputy chief of JSPS, an April investigator, a member of the U.S. Media Research Society. The literal translation of the title of this book is UFOs in Japan, which goes into the incidents from ancient to modern cases, just like you mentioned. Utsurabune thing is Utsurabune incident is mentioned in here and everything, and okay, but the one interesting is just this book right here is really minute. They've got the all the kinds of data, just like this, if you can see that. You know, very scientific, I should say. So it's readable. It's fun to read, and very useful to make uh, make sure about things happen in the past. So all the cases were all cases happen in Japan. So it's really, I should say, colorful, book of Japanese UFO ufology. Mm.
And did we show the picture of the author? And here's a
Yep.
picture. Now, at a later time, in this case, 1999, he was director for Japan for MUFON.
That's right.
And,
Okay, yeah.
we have another picture of him
Mm-hmm.
here and showing his name. Hopefully, yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
There you
the
go.
quality of the picture wasn't that good, but it was really difficult to find any pictures of him at all.
I know, that's right, yes.
Unfortunately. And the book is entirely in Japanese, of course, so I greatly appreciate you translating several more interesting cases from the book.
Yep.
And I thought we could go into the material that you prepared. And why don't you go ahead and explain, and then
Sure.
we'll show the pictures.
Okay. So let me start with case number 1, the Grand Formation over Tokyo Bay. That's picture 1 of the. That's right. Okay. Okay, hear me out. On July 12th, 1952, an amateur astronomer living in Koto Ward, that is eastern part of Tokyo, he was observing Mars with his 2 friends. He was using 23 centimeter lens reflector telescope. At around 10:30 p.m., he found a grand formation of bright orange lights moving slowly from the east to the south. It was pulsating, the light was pulsating and sometimes disappeared. He and his friends always tried to follow the flight path of commercial airplanes during stargazing, and they did the same at this time too. Illustration 1.3 indicates the entire formation. Again, orange lights are on both sides. At least 7 yellow lights were in between, and the rest were daylight color. The formation spread the whole field of view of the eyepiece. Then all of the object moved to the south and disappeared completely. That was for about 3 seconds to 5 seconds. The distance from the observation point to the formation seemed to be more than 10 kilometers, but the details still need to be discovered. Now let's take out the illustration just to show one more time. That's right. Okay. 2 big ones on both sides on the top of the formation were orange. The 7 dots in 2 circles were yellow, and the rest were white, daylight color. The author says this is similar to the mysterious light of Lubbock, Texas. Ring your bell?
Yeah, and that happened later, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have any speculation on the reason why there was different colors involved?
Well, actually, I think just when I first looked at this case, I thought the color should have something to do with the difference in temperature. Don't you think?
I don't know. I'd be
Mm,
speculating.
yeah,
They could be different kinds of
I think it's got something to
temperatures. I
do with
mean,
the heat or temperature of the objects. Just and the size of the objects were different here in the. At least we have got the 3 colors here, right? I mean, orange, yellow, and daylight white color. So I should say I believe this is because of the temperature of the objects. And I'm pretty much interested in Lubbock, Texas case. Do you have anything to share with me today here?
not at this moment. I should have. I've studied that a little bit and see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
closely they compare.
Hmm.
Um, and but the formation was almost almost identical from what I recall.
Okay,
The other
pretty
photo,
much. That's interesting.
uh,
Oh, so
and whether they had
just
different colors, I don't know.
Peter. Sometimes they say that UFOs are like foxfire and stuff like that. You
Foxfire?
know, yeah, just fireballs and everything. But I think these are so-called genuine UAP. I think back then, but nobody knew the idea. Nobody had the idea back then, 1952. So, well, I think this is a very good case to start with. Mm.
And this may be one of the first modern
Yeah,
cases
in modern era,
in Japan.
I completely agree with you. Mm.
Okay.
So this book is full of this kind of information. So just it should be really highly pressed or just highly really evaluated here. Just
What's the next case, please?
okay. Case two: a boomerang type of flying object in Gunma Prefecture. Gunma Prefecture is a prefecture which is located north of Tokyo. Take a look at picture 1-4 here, please. Yep, that's right. On August 1st, 1973, from 1:30 to 1:40 a.m., a couple of local school students observed a luminous object in the sky over Isezaki City. Isezaki City is a big city in Gunma Prefecture. They observed a luminous object flying across the night sky at least 4 times. Just the thing went kind of back and forth, I guess. They reported their experience to the local amateur astronomy club. Later on, their story was printed in the club's newsletter. At around 1:30 a.m., this object appeared in the southern sky of Isezaki City. The elevation angle was about 50 degrees, and the thing traveled to the east. Its luminance was not decided clearly because it was spreading from its center, but not that dark since they noticed it in the night sky. The color of the light was white and blue. The shape of the object reminded them of a bow or boomerang. It flew soundlessly. At 1:33, it flew overhead from northeast to southeast. It looked slightly bigger this time, so that it might have been in descending motion. Then it moved from south to north, flying across the sky soundlessly again. And at 1:37 a.m., it kept flying in the same direction. This time, the two kids had a better angle to observe this object from the bottom. They saw 20 to 30 bright white light spots aligned along the object's front edge. The object's shape as a whole was like a boomerang. They made sure about it at this time. At 1:49, it kept on flying to the north and disappeared. Picture 1-6 describes the path of the flight of the object.
Okay, we have
The
that.
amateur, yeah. I just keep going. The Amateur Astronomy Club this is it, held a meeting to discuss this incident with the two eyewitnesses present, the boys, right? They were trained stargazers for their age and known to be skeptical of all of the ufology stuff back then. There was no reason for them to seek some attention from a fabricated eyewitness account. One of them said that the object was flying under the clouds. Under the clouds. This is a critical point, I think. It passed the eyewitness's field of view at high speed and at one time it got closer to them. I don't know. Yeah, that's what happened. But what I think about this case is, did the thing have some kind of intention to get closer to them? Peter, you are familiar with the incidents in the United States or UK. So, what do you think? What do you make of it? Mm.
Mm, well, yeah, I below the clouds, this is more
Yeah.
unusual.
Mm.
Because logically, if you think about it, if there are UFOs
Hmm.
and they are intelligent, they would want to be above the clouds so they
Hmm.
could hide.
Hmm.
Below the clouds, you're risking more likelihood of being seen.
That's right.
It's a more unusual that it would be below the clouds.
Hmm.
Um, I have a question though about
Sure.
the that image um, that you were just showing, the first one of this case.
Hmm.
Yeah, okay. Now I don't understand. Let's keep on the image there. Okay, I don't understand what one and two are. What are they? Is that a different a view of the object? I don't understand what that is.
Oh, I think there are. Well, actually, it says a pulsating, and it was like the thing was kind of getting bigger and smaller, you know,
Hmm.
during the flight. So
Ah.
it shows like that, just number one, shape number one showed the shape one, and number two showed the shape two. It was kind of getting spread. It was kind of spreading, or so
Hmm.
the light was getting spreading, or just sometimes got smaller and during the flight, and only when they saw the object from the bottom, they saw the lights
Hmm.
lining along the front edge of the object. And at that time, they actually realized that this thing, object, was shaped like a boomerang. That's what it says here uh,
Is
on the
that
image.
a excuse me, is that a
Yeah,
shape that is often seen in UFO cases in Japan?
yeah, pretty
Really?
much. I think, yeah. It's that is a very interesting point. I mean, that's a very good point to bring up. Actually, well, talking about the shapes of UFOs, there are always like Adamski type, or just just a ball kind of thing, and what other, just like well, recently TR3B, triangular type of shape. But I don't know why, but Japanese people are pretty much conscious about UFO's shape. That is why this that appears. I mean, that applies to this case too. You know what I mean? Mm.
Yeah, and then it shows that um, the commonalities in the phenomena around the
Hmm.
world, that shape
Yeah.
appears in other
Hmm.
cases in
Hmm.
Europe, United States, so
Hmm.
forth. Um, yeah, an interesting case. Okay, the next one.
Sure. Case number three, a reverse circular cone UFO in Mie Prefecture. Mie Prefecture is southwestern part of Japan, Honshu Island. Illustration number 18, I think. Yep.
Mm,
This is the okay.
is that it?
That's right. Yeah. On August 1st, 1979. No. On August 1st, 1972, 11 local people witnessed a reverse circular cone UFO. Please imagine the shape. In this case, the sighting duration was about 10 minutes. The importance of this case was that the particular shape of the object, illustration 20, ends. That's right, yep. Okay. and is supposed to be uh, very reliable because of the number of the eyewitnesses involved, 11. Well, it was from 6:40 to 6:50 p.m., a 10-minute encounter. The author visited the village where this incident occurred and conducted his on-hand investigation. He went there to do an investigation himself, including interviews with the witnesses, of course. Illustration 18 indicates the spot of the sightings and its perimeters. Excuse me. The illustration gives a general idea of the environment of on a grander scale, I think. Can you see point A? Yeah, just a little bit lower, right there. Yeah, point A. Point A in illustration 18 is the benchmark of this sighting. There's a pond beside point A, and a witness saw
Excuse me. I see
yep,
point B. Where is point A?
just a little bit. Yep,
Oh,
right there. Yep, right there. Thank you. Point A. And a witness saw an object which looked like an upside down cone on the pond's surface. Now, this witness went from point A to point B beside the pond to have a better look at the peculiar object. And he made sure about the shape. Shape again here. The dark silver surface of the object was blunt, not very shiny, they say, which he meant to say that it was not that shiny. It was not reflecting anything, starlight or anything. After observing it for about 5 to 6 minutes, he left the spot to look for someone nearby, hoping to get some more witnesses beside himself. At a pool construction site, other witnesses were just across the pond. They also observed an upside down cone above the pond. That is illustration 19. So other witnesses were at the iron tower depicted on the right hand side of this illustration 19. This is you can see the two Chinese characters there. It says it's shaped like, its shape is iron tower right there in his power line and everything. And there's also saw an upside down cone descend from the sky toward the pond. So we have got two angles here. The total number of witnesses was 11, just like I said, and there was a radar site managed by the self-defense force southeast of the pond, but no official report was made about that strange object. Now, again, the very important thing is the strongest point of this case is its shape, don't you think?
yeah, and then the fact that there were so many witnesses.
That's right, 11.
Yeah, that's kind of unusual. But I'm confused about the orientation of the shape. So an ice cream cone, I mean,
Yeah,
was
that's right.
like this or like this? I'm
Just
confused.
like that. Just like that. Not like this. Just like that.
Just like that, where
Yeah.
the ice
So
cream
I
would be
yeah,
here.
just used the literal translation is in the reverse. It says, does say reverse here in this book. So just like that, cone.
Oh, that's weird.
Mm.
And there was no mention of any details on the cone, like
Well, just like I said the witness who observed this object in rather short distance said the dark silver surface of the object was blunt, not just it was not that shiny. So he meant to say that it was not reflecting anything. So so it's like I don't know how to describe this. Just like it was a lead thing, kind of thing, you
Hmm.
know, but
And
very shiny surface.
is this also a shape that reoccurs in Japanese cases? The cone?
No, I have this. When it comes to cone shape, this is the only case I believe. Mm. See, there are lots of types of UFOs observed, seen here in Japan too. But when it comes to cone, this is it. I mean, this is the only case. Have you ever heard about a case involving this kind of shape in the U.S. or in South America?
Yeah, but very few. It's not a common
Ah,
shape.
mm,
I can't mention a case, a specific case offhand, but yeah,
mhm,
I have heard, but very rarely. It's a rare shape.
mhm.
Um, Lots of triangles, but cones,
Yeah.
not
Mm,
so frequent, very rare.
yeah. And
Um,
one more thing, it was above a pond, a water body, right? And recently, I think it's uh, Lake Michigan, just just a few weeks ago. A flying object was observed above the waters of Lake Michigan. It was sucking up the water. Have you ever the news? Have you heard the news?
yeah, there's been a number of cases where people
Mm,
have witnessed
mm,
some kind of action where the water
mhm,
is being, yeah,
mhm.
sucked up into the
Yeah,
UFO.
that's right. Do they use, I mean, do the extraterrestrial use water as fuel or something? What do they need water for?
Yeah, exactly. That has
Oh,
been one speculation. That's
mhm,
very interesting.
mhm,
Um, yeah, I find that very intriguing. Yeah, what would they
mhm,
need the water for? Uh,
mhm.
or maybe it's for cooling.
Uh-huh.
But I've heard the
And of
idea
course, we cannot, we cannot omit the possibility of USO,
yeah,
you
now
know.
that's another area I wanted to ask you about
Mm,
at some point in this interview is the reports of USOs
yeah.
in Japan. I mean, there's got to be
Mhm,
USO cases.
mm.
Have you heard of any?
Yeah, so when it comes to actually, I'm glad you bring this up because have you ever heard about Kaiyomar incident?
Mm,
Kaiyomar
perhaps.
incident.
Um, Now, remind me. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. It doesn't ring a
Well,
bell.
that was kind of well, Kaiyomar is I think fishing boat traveling through the southwestern sea of Japan, and it was surrounded by strange lights during the night. And the incident, a duration of the incident was like 2 or 3 hours, I guess, a couple of hours. They were, the fishermen were surrounded strange lights floating or flying around the ship all the way. So I think this is just another case of USO, just like the Nimitz incident, where in just when a TikTok video was taken, don't you think?
Now this, I guess it's possible. Now this wasn't the case where the ship had strange radar uh,
Yeah,
reception of the
yeah,
object.
yeah, yeah.
This is the
Actually,
same
the
one?
fisherman, yeah, saw this
Oh,
the
okay.
bright light on the surface of the night sea, night ocean. So this is really interesting case when you talk about USO cases.
Hmm.
But they just didn't realize, or nor researchers back then realized this is an USO case. So, well, I believe I should I mentioned this. I should mention this. That was also a USO case.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Um, Yeah, that's a whole area that's very
Hmm.
intriguing. The interaction with the water, what's
Hmm.
happening there.
Hmm.
Are they using bases underwater or what's
Hmm.
happening? It's
Hmm.
obviously an easy way to camouflage yourself by going in the water.
Yeah, that's right. Mm.
And yeah, it's all very intriguing.
Hmm.
And well, why don't we go on to the next case? Case
Case
number.
number four. Okay.
Okay.
The Okayama UFO flop. Okayama Prefecture is a southwestern prefecture of Japan. It's of the Honshu Island. And this prefecture is full of wonder. This is really interesting place to visit. This is okay. This is about uh this yeah uh the map of the flop case. The flop occurred from January 1957 to May 1958 in Okayama Prefecture, the southwestern part of Honshu Island. And all individual incident was mentioned and recorded in Uchuki, the spacecraft magazine edited by Kinichi Arai. Notable examples are as follows. Here we go. November 7th, 1957, at around 10 p.m. in Tamano City, three local junior high students observed a circular object emitting bluish white light. It appeared above the school ground and the object ascended slowly, very slowly, and suddenly shot up the sky. Just keep on going. Just December 6th at 7:30 p.m. in Kurasaki City, two local high school girls observed an orange orb moving around the top of Mount Kinko. Mount Kinko. They made sure that it was not a headlight of an automobile, nor a flight light of any aircraft. It was moving around. The lights were moving around uh, the mountain for about 30 minutes. 30 minutes. So just kind of rather long. December 24th at 10:30 p.m. A local worker observed an orange orb floating just above the top of Mount Kinko again. It was twice as large as other stars seen from where he was standing. December 28th, 4 days later, at 8:20 p.m. from the mountaintop of Mount Kinko, a local woman observed several orange orbs lining straight, moving from west to southeast. They looked like natural bolide, but they continued flying for more than 3 minutes. Unlikely behavior for a natural one. January 16th, 1958. At 4 p.m. in Okayama City, a local woman observed a white ball of light moving from east to west along the ridge line of Mount Kinko. The light split into three smaller ones traveling in the same direction. Now we have a pattern here. Mount Kinko seems to have something to do with the strange lights, right? It might, the mountain itself might be acting like Mount Popocatépetl in Mexico. Hmm. Although Kinko is not an active volcano, the UFO flap appeared in and around, happened in and around Mount Kinko, and I would like to look into this kind of thing, or this particular instance, this flap, more thoroughly. That's part of the reason I went to Okayama just recently. I'm gonna tell you about that later on. So this is the UFO flop in Okayama City from January 1957 to May 1958. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a long time that they
Mm-hmm,
had over a year. They had this
mm-hmm,
flap,
mm-hmm,
and I'm just wondering,
mm-hmm.
in 1957? No,
Mm-hmm.
1958.
Mm-hmm.
Is it 58, 59? I forget now.
It says a January.
What would be so interesting in this area that would attract UFOs? I mean, can you?
I just don't know. Maybe you just don't know. There is a well, actually, I was going to mention about this later on, but Robert
What?
Hastings. You know Robert Hastings, right?
Right.
Mr. Hastings said that you talks about the relationship, or just relationship between UAP and nuclear facilities, right?
Hmm.
And there is a base, self-defense force base in Okayama City, north part of Okayama City, which is said to be holding some kind of nuclear warhead in Japan. So recently, just I'm talking about the 1940, 1957 and 58. Well, this might have something to do with that kind of thing. I just don't know, but just the Hastings theory just crosses my mind. Mm.
But you think there? I mean, that would be believable now, but
Mhm,
in the late 1950s,
mhm,
that would be happening.
mhm.
I don't know. Uh,
Well,
how could we?
actually, the Roswell case took place in 1947, so you know.
But we're not saying. Well, I don't know. It just
Mhm,
um, you could entertain all kinds
mhm.
of theories. Uh,
And one more thing, one more thing I would like to mention is about that Okayama City is right. Okayama Prefecture is right beside Hiroshima Prefecture.
mm.
So there is kind of a well, I really don't know about it, but I'm not saying concrete about this here, but there might be some kind of really relationship between those two prefectures in the background. I really don't know about that. I'm gonna find out, hopefully.
Yeah, it's always been a mystery. I mean, there's
Hmm.
so many cases of different flaps all over the world,
Hmm.
and people speculating on why, what
Hmm.
causes a flap, and no
Hmm.
one has really had a convincing explanation.
Hmm.
And at one time, people speculated that it was the proximity of the planet Mars,
Yeah.
but that was discovered not to be correct.
Hmm.
So we still don't know what causes these flaps, uh,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
that's another
And
mystery.
when it comes to UFO flaps, we have this Belgian flap, right?
Yeah,
That
that
was back
was a very
in
impressive.
19. When was that?
The late 80s,
Okay. Okay.
early 90s.
All right. Mhm. Thank you.
Yeah, that was another, and mainly the triangles and the boomerangs
Hmm.
involved in that, or at least the
Hmm.
triangles.
Hmm.
Um, well, why don't we go? We'll save the rest of the Okayama information for later.
Yeah.
Why don't we go to
Case number 5.
number 5?
Okay. It is about two rugby ball shaped objects passing through the surface of the sun. Let's take a look at the photo number 43, please. All right. On June 13, 1959, a local man took a fascinating picture that is this in Musashino Prefecture, Musashino City, I'm sorry, in Tokyo, which is that is western part of Tokyo. This person was an amateur astronomer using a top-notch camera and telescope. What he had got, what he got was the picture of two rugby ball-shaped objects passing through the surface of the sun. According to the record, this incident was not the first time. Back in 1949 in Tokyo, Nagano, Wakayama, Yamagata, and Aomori prefectures, similar objects were observed in similar situations. and they do. I mean, in each case, there were photographs involved. I don't know what I should make out of it, but was it just another type of flap observed in only in Japan? And this kind of thing happened in the past in US or UK or in South America. I should ask a question about this, Peter.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. Yeah,
Mm,
the shapes are very unique,
mm.
so it's definitely not an airplane.
Well, but it's kind of too obvious to be, just that. I really don't believe in. I don't really believe in rugby ball shaped UFOs. Do you?
Well, so you're suspecting this was a hoax?
Not really hoax, but something strange, but not really an UFO or not really a UAP. This kind of thing, really, it's really hard to, evaluate. I mean, well, for one thing, the photograph is kind of too old, don't you think?
Um, well, I don't know what I don't know what to
Mm,
say. Yeah,
mm.
and
And as an author, Mr. Ikeda wanted to believe this was true. I think I have to mention about this because there are lots of researchers all around the world, and sometimes just sometimes they might want to believe what they think. Don't you think?
um,
Well, I'm not a skeptical. I'm not a skeptical at all or anything like that. But sometimes there are people, or sometimes there are researchers to do to have that kind of tendency. I have seen a lot of them actually. So this is really hard to say, but I just want to ask you a question about this as a researcher.
well, it's a kind of a unique picture. I mean, it
Mm,
doesn't bring up the subject of the possibility of a hoax,
mhm.
and which makes me think of another question.
Yeah.
Uh, what are the recognized cases in Japan that are
Mhm.
considered hoaxes?
Well, there are a lot. There are a lot.
What's an interesting one? And that we could
Yeah.
talk about and we won't get sued.
Well, it just doesn't Japan, it doesn't matter in Japan or in the US, but there are always people who want to seek, the attention, right? So it's all of this internet age. We've got all kind of Photoshop stuff and everything. So, uh, but when it compared to just like 50 or 60 years ago, it is really easy to generate the kind of really believable image or video or stuff like that. So as a researcher, I have to look out and look for those examples. Mm.
Is there any famous hoax case that we might talk about or you could mention in Japan?
Well, just recently, I think that the humanoid in Tokyo sky, flying humanoid in Tokyo sky, that is, I don't have any pictures of that, but well, you can Google it, just humanoid, flying humanoid in Tokyo sky. That is a very good example of fake photo, I should say, you know, just on and it's well, it was really a creative one, I should say too. Just flying humanoid on Tokyo over Tokyo sky. That's just fascinating. It's interesting. I also kind of admire the creativity of the hoaxers. You know, just to do that, just that, do this, do that to make everybody believe that there is this kind of thing really flying around, anywhere, the
Now,
sky
wait a
anywhere.
minute.
So
Excuse me.
yeah.
What about Ultraman?
There you go. That's good. He's an
Yeah,
extraterrestrial.
Ultraman
So
is real, isn't
oh,
Ultraman
that's
real?
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That was a good one. I like it. Oh, okay.
Uh,
Mm,
yeah, that's that's pretty creative, to go with an idea like that. No UFO, no vehicle or spaceship, just a huge uh, human figure or humanoid flying around. Uh,
So one more thing,
it's pretty
I just
creative.
want to actually I ask you one more question. I just we got 10 minutes towards the break here. So where do you draw the line? Between real thing, real McCoy and fake thing.
Uh,
What's your evaluation point?
well, I think you need to go
Mhm.
case by case.
Yeah.
The problem now
Mhm.
is that the pictures that we're getting from cell phones are terrible.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
can't tell what it is. It could be anything. And
Mm-hmm.
these little lights in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but if you look back in the on the covers of some of those journals that we were talking about in the
Yeah.
1960s and 50s,
Mm-hmm.
even with photography, then they were still
Mm-hmm.
getting objects which you can't tell what they are.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I think that you need to go by case basis, and
Mm.
you need to have the testimony of the witness involved, not just a cell phone photo.
Mm.
And where do you draw the line?
Mm.
Well, the interesting thing is that hoaxes are not limited to the United States.
That's
The
right.
United
Yeah.
States has a huge amount of hoaxes, but I have
Uh-huh.
discovered hoaxing in other countries. Uh, if, for example, the Umo case in
Uh-huh.
Spain is a famous hoax. Although
Yeah.
there's still people to this day who believe it was
Mm.
real. That's the another unfortunate thing about hoaxes. Once a hoax is created, no
Mm.
matter how absurd, it never dies.
I
There's
know.
always somebody to keep it alive or revive it.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, and so I don't I don't know if I could generalize about hoaxes.
Mm.
I
Mm.
think you
Mm.
have to study each case individually,
Mm.
and then now we have the problem of drones. How can you
I
tell the
know. Yeah,
drone
that's right. Yeah,
from the real
drones.
thing? Because you could imagine, well, that you know that there's no limit on human technology, and then
Right.
you could always say that the UFOs advanced human technology.
I remember that someone said that the U.S. Nimitz Tic Tac incident was also because of the drones. They used drones. So just I think I read that article on a website. I can't remember the name of the website right now, but TikTok, drone, you know, they can be the same thing or sometimes.
Yeah, and then I'm remembering somebody saying, making a statement that it's absolutely, some specific UFO is absolutely not ours, not human
Mm,
technology. And I'm
yes.
thinking, how can you say that? Because
Mm.
have the people at Area 51 given you a personal tour? How do you know what we have
That's
and what
right.
we
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
have?
Yeah. 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 They say
And
that kind of things knowingly, so it's really uh well, yeah, it's really hard to. Mm.
and I think, that we are seeing a combination. We're seeing things not of this world. We're seeing things that are advanced human technology,
Hmm.
and the everything. We're seeing everything. Um, but there are a lot of misidentifications now.
Yeah.
Um, but I've seen some examples of very good
Hmm.
government research. For example, I saw some material from Argentina, and
Oh,
they do a very good
really?
job on
Mm.
analyzing cases and breaking them down
Mm.
very scientifically. You would be surprised. and I was impressed by their methodology.
And the Brazilian Air Force is pretty much into it, right? I mean, in the investigating and research of that kind of thing. Don't you think?
Yeah, although I think we do have some hoaxes in Brazil as
Still
well.
okay.
You know, the hoaxes. There doesn't seem to be any country that's immune to hoaxes. Every country seems to be doing that. Okay, Watsu, I also
Yep.
wanted you to please mention and talk about some of the early Japanese UFO groups.
Okay. Okay, let's start with this one. In 1955, their first UFO research organization was formed in Japan, called the Japan Flying Saucer Research Association, JFSA. This group was established by Kinichi Arai. And, just here, do you have the photo? Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we have
Here's the photo of Kinichi Arai. Lots of people still respect him as the father of Japanese ufology. I think I met him. Yes, I have met him. I met him like, I don't know, 30 years ago.
Wow.
30, yeah, 30, 24, 25 years ago when who was there? Linda Howe. Linda Howe did a show here in Japan, and I was there, and he was there too. So Kenichi Arai is supposed to be the father of Japanese ufology, and we have some example of the journal published by JFSA here. Do you have the pictures here? That's right, Uchuki. Let's go to Uchuki spacecraft. And in August 1957, author of UFO group was formed, the Cosmic Brotherhood Association. This is another one. And this was established by Yusuke Matsumura.
Okay, well, hang on a second.
Sure.
We'll show that in a moment here. Let's go back to the GF
Kinichi, right?
journal. And well, since you met Kinichi, do you recall anything he said?
Well, he was, it's really a big figure in Japanese UFO research world, and Mr. Namiki was always also there, and Mr. Arai was supposed to be kind of a guru for Mr. Namiki, so it was kind of fun to see that relationship. It was like Obi-Wan Kenobi and Luke Skywalker. You know what I mean? That was really fun, and Mr. Arai was active back then, really active. And I think he was doing a book or something. He was translating some UFO book published in the US back then. I don't know, and maybe he was pretty close to Robert Hastings too. I don't know. I can't really recall exactly, but anyway, he knew a lot of things and he did a lot of things, and supposed to be the really pioneer, trailblazers of the trailblazer of Japanese ufology, I should say.
Interesting. Can we go back to the journal for a moment? Those same pictures. Do you have
These
any
originals? I think. Where did you get this picture?
Now, I want to give special thanks to a researcher in Japan. His name is Ken Shiro of Japan, for allowing me to use these pictures, these photos. They're all from his private collection.
Oh,
so it was
great.
very kind of him to allow me to use these. Can we look at the other now? It looks like some of these are from Japanese cases, like the first two here.
Yeah.
In 1959. Are those Japanese cases? Can you tell, or is kind of difficult?
it's really hard to tell,
Yeah,
but the upper left one and the next to the right, I think these two are Japanese cases because I can tell the shape of the building of
yeah,
the picture.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
mhm.
And then what about now this the one in the lower left? Is that
I
a
think
Japanese case, or
no,
maybe
I don't
that's the
think so.
Flatwoods Monster?
Yeah, I agree with you.
Ah,
I agree with you
and then
because
the other image.
yeah, the thing is, I think I don't know, not much notable cases, just like you mentioned in the just Kofu case or Kera case. Just that we haven't got that much, when it comes to famous cases. So naturally, the researchers here were looking into incidents happened in the U.S. or in Europe. So I don't know. Maybe that's because of this one right here. So, and photographic evidence, just like the cover of these, you know, uppercase covers, are really scarce back then. This is like what, 1958, 1959?
Yeah, great.
This, I think, pictures were really scarce, especially this kind of pictures were really scarce back then. So, well, they couldn't help that.
Beautiful
Mm.
covers. And then can we look at
Yeah.
the other photo of the covers?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, this is
the
great.
other one. Yeah.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
This is more like school papers, right? I mean, school magazine or something. But this is really nice. It looks nice.
Yeah,
That
I like
was,
the graphics are
yeah, that's
pretty
right.
cool.
1958. Oh, okay. Mm,
All right, well
mm.
then we could go ahead with the talking about the Cosmic Brotherhood Association.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you
Okay.
started to talk about
Here we
that.
go again. In August 1957, I should say, another UFO group was formed, that Cosmic Brotherhood Association. Sounds good here, right? This was established by Yusuke Matsumura. Yusuke Matsumura. He was holding this kind of dogu right here. And here's a photo of Yusuke Matsumura. And the Cosmic Brotherhood Association was a Japanese Sorcerian organization originally founded in 1957, just like I mentioned, and by Yusuke Matsumura. And Matsumura made claims to have contacts with extraterrestrial intelligence and prophesied a global cataclysm following a shift in the Earth's axial tilt in the early 1960s, offering members the chances to escape with the Space Brothers. These claims were published widely in Japan, which led to the CBA being ostracized from the Japanese ufology community and forced the resignations of many association members, including Matsumura himself. And following a short lived absence, and in spite of the failure of these prophecies, Matsumura ultimately resumed his directorial duties, and the CBA, renamed CBA International this time, began a focus on ancient astronaut hypothesis, seeking to demonstrate that extraterrestrial contacts had been made with the ancient civilizations of Japan, including the Jomon culture, which involved the construction of the Hayopira pyramid or Hayopira UFO station, a hand-built platform for UFO contacts in Biratori, Hidaka in Hokkaido. By the early 1970s, the association had ceased public activities. Mm.
Well, why don't we?
Oh,
Yeah, that's fascinating. And why don't we go to the CBA? I have some images of their
yeah,
publication.
great. Mm,
CBA had their own publications and some examples.
that's right. Mm.
Beautiful. Some of these
Oh,
covers are
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
beautiful.
Mm.
And
Actually, this is a very good job for a newsletter, I think.
then
So
now
this is
here,
from 1963.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. Um, now this one here, this
Hmm.
now the this other there's a couple of covers here, and some of them are examples of that ancient astronaut theory.
Mm.
Now this one here, interesting,
Mm.
1963.
Hmm.
And they're exploring the concept of ancient astronaut theory
Oh,
way
yeah.
before uh,
Hmm.
anyone ever heard of Eric von Daniken,
That's right.
much earlier, years earlier.
Mm.
And
Oh, yeah. That's good. Yeah, that's good point. Mm.
I have a couple of other examples. Now, here I thought this was interesting because it's from one of the issues, and it mentions there's an article here about U.S. jets
Oh, that's right.
chasing UFOs over northern Japan.
Uh-huh. Oh,
I
that's
don't
right.
know.
Yeah. Yes, jazz pilots chase like okay. Mm.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. And
Uh-huh.
then there's another here. Now here's another cover which shows the ancient astronaut influence back in
Oh,
1962.
yeah, that's
Um,
right.
and I
Mm.
think Von Daniken came out with his first book in 1968.
Mm.
Clearly, he was not as original as some people
Mm.
thought.
And it says on the cover right here, it's this particular one is 15th anniversary issue.
Now this
Hmm.
is an example of exactly what you were talking about. This cover here.
Hmm.
Um, is illustrating that concept of a the Earth axis tilting and causing
Yeah.
a disaster, cataclysm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, now, where the information, the idea of this um, Earth shift or tilt,
Hmm.
um, I think. Do you know where that came from originally?
To them,
Yeah.
I really don't know about that, but maybe or just maybe they were well they kind of got uh this inspiration from Bible or something. I just don't know. Don't I can just tell point this one, but
It
what do you
could
think?
have originated from the writings of Ray Stanford. Mhm.
Ah.
It's
Mm.
possible. Um,
Hmm.
and like you say, that caused a lot of controversy. This
Yeah, right.
prediction, and then of course it didn't happen, thankfully,
Hmm.
and caused the organization to, I guess, break up or
Hmm.
reorganize.
Hmm.
Um, I have a couple of more images from
Hmm.
CBA. Now, this one
Hmm.
I thought was kind of interesting because
Hmm.
it shows that this is from CBA junior
Mm.
publication,
Mm. It
and
says
it shows
this is the inside. This is the interior of commanding craft. Mm.
and I to me it was kind of amusing because it shows the inside of the UFO. The
That's right.
occupants are looking at a map of Japan.
Japan. Yeah.
I thought that was kind of nice,
This
cute.
is hilarious. This is
Yeah,
good. Yeah. Mm.
and okay, we have a couple. Uh, okay, now
Oh.
in their publications, they also had some photos
Hmm.
showing the visit of various international
Mm.
celebrities of that time.
Mm.
Now, this is a
Mm.
photo of George Hunt Williamson, and
Ah.
Williamson in 1961
Mm.
visited Japan and met with the CBA.
Hmm.
But he was a very controversial
Mm.
flying saucer contactee, American flying saucer
Ah.
saucer
Okay.
contactee from the 1950s.
Mm.
And so here he is visiting Japan in 1961.
Mm-hmm.
We have another photo too, meeting with Matsumura,
Uh-huh.
the correct pronunciation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, he was really
apparently they had
active.
a couple of celebrities visiting them.
Mm. Mm.
I have a picture here. Let's show this one. This is in 1966,
Mm-hmm.
and it's showing a British
Oh.
UFO researcher
Oh.
visiting Japan,
Mm.
meeting with the CBA, and his name was
Mm-hmm.
Trench. I
Mm.
believe it's a Brinsley L.P. Trench, and he had written a book.
Mm.
He's a British researcher. He had written a book in 1960 called The Sky People, which is
Mm.
about alien astronaut theory.
Mm.
And again, way before, years before von Daniken.
That's right.
Um,
Mm.
so we can see maybe the possible influences
Mm.
on their ideas.
Maybe they were in a, just well, decent direction. I mean, they were right in right direction when it comes to their when we talk about their activity, right? I mean, this is really this is really refreshing. I mean, this is really nice to know. I am not very familiar with the activity of the CBA, but now you offered this kind of information that is really, really useful for me. Mm.
Well, to me, it's a fascinating. I am fascinated by that time period
Mm.
and the personalities.
Mhm.
Uh, and I don't necessarily believe all the stories, and most of them I
That's right.
don't.
Yes. Hmm.
But to me, it's kind of like a form of science fiction. I just love it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Right.
it's great. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, because like for example, that George Hunt Williamson, he was a
Hmm.
contactee, and he had all kinds of wild stories. He was a
Mm.
former associate of
Mm.
Adamski, George Adamski.
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
So um, now the Cosmic Brotherhood Association built this memorial park. Uh,
Hmm.
is there any more to say about that? And that was I guess they started in 1964.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. This is it. What I've heard so far is that the Brotherhood was not welcomed by Japanese society. Maybe it was too early, just like I thought. And I mean, the society was not that mature to take in that kind of. I mean, Japanese society was not that mature to take in that kind of ideology. The ancient astronaut stuff and everything. They used to gather. The members of CBA used to gather on the rooftop of something or the building in the park and try to summon UFOs. Mm.
And did they have any success?
I haven't heard of anything about anything. So this is a very good picture. Where did you get that? I mean,
Well,
on the
this
web
is
or?
also from the collection of
Oh, okay.
Kinichiro,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, his material was from
Mm.
these journals, various journals.
Mm.
Um, Now, wasn't their idea to also attract UFOs, hoping that they would land there? Was that part of their concept?
Kind of reminds me of the movie Independence Day. You know, they were gathered. The believers were gathering on the rooftop of some tall building, and just they all zipped up and then zipped up and everything. The fire got loud. But I think the CBA. Well, I don't know that they were kind of. There are two aspects of this particular brotherhood. Like just one is just like a wild side, and the other is more like a logic side, dealing with the ancient astronaut theory and everything. This is really impressive, I should say. What do you think?
I think it's intriguing and fascinating.
Yeah.
I love all of it. It's
Yeah.
have you personally been to the ruins of the park? Have you
No.
been there? No.
No.
So
Mm,
I guess there's still uh, structures, but it's all
yeah.
overgrown with vegetation.
So when I check out the web, I was suffering, and all the pictures I got was really ruined, and just real uh very awful status of the facility nowadays. So mm.
Now, and another thing that occurs to me is this Cosmic Brotherhood Association had a lot of money. How did they get
I
all this
know.
money
Yes,
to
yeah, I
do
guess
this?
so. Yes, that's right.
I mean, that's expensive to build that temple
That's right.
complex.
Even in Hokkaido, right? I mean, it's just so who was spending? I mean, who was paying for that? I mean, who was contributing? Just was making a big contribution. Maybe some politicians here. I don't know. Mm.
Yeah, and they seem to have a much bigger organization than
Mm-hmm.
the earlier one, JFSA,
Mm-hmm.
in comparison. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so why don't we go to um, recently some of the UFO events, conferences
Yeah.
you've attended? Please tell me about those.
Okay, actually, we have three major cities right now for such kind of conferences in Japan. Hakui City in Ishikawa Prefecture, and Ino City in Fukushima Prefecture, and Shingo Village in Aomori Prefecture. All these cities hosted festivals this year, and average attendance was around 1,000 each for a two-way event. 1,000.
Wow.
And I think people here are far more educated than 20 years ago. Talking about UFOs is getting very casual, not weird, like back in the 80s. I believe that editors of Mu magazine, especially Takeharu Mikami, the editor in chief, has got a lot to do with this tendency. We have got a lot of just collaborated t-shirt and the hoodies and everything, just phone covers and books and tote bags and just really I don't know, Moon magazine is becoming uh like cultural icon of Japan in 2022. That's what I mean. Mm.
And who are some of the personalities at these conferences? Uh,
Of course, Mr. Takeharu Mikami, the editor in chief, and Mr. Shinichiro Namiki, and what others? Mr. Josen Takano, who is a founder of Cosmo Isle Hakui, which is a very, very good facility, which gathers a lot of people from all around Japan, and who else? And of course, I was part of the Hakui and Hakui and Ino City and Shingo Village uh, conference. So we have a lot of people. Not they were not really believers, but they enjoy. You know, they're not really pretty much into it, but they do not deny everything. You know what I mean?
did you have people coming? So you were a speaker at some of these events.
Yes, at some of the events.
And did you have people coming up to you saying, Watsu, I want to tell you about the UFO that I saw? People are telling you.
Always,
Oh,
always.
so you heard some interesting stories, huh?
Yeah, that's right. And just well, that's brings us back to the topic of shape, all the different types of shape of UFOs, right? Some of them are just a triangular thing, but one trend is like I have heard a lot of stories involved involving TR3B type of craft, the triangular thing bigger ones one of these days. I just don't know why, but I have been just I getting a lot of I've been getting a lot of things stories of involving TR3B type of craft. I just don't know why. Mm.
And are the details interesting or anything kind of unique or now the TR3B, that's a whole nother topic.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of personally, I cringe when I hear that because uh,
Mm-hmm.
that is believed to be not credible. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
the triangles are credible, though
Mm-hmm.
they're reported, but specifically the TR3B uh, appears to be an invention by a specific researcher, Ed Fouché, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But did any of these stories that you were told stand out? Anything in particular strike you as spectacular?
Well, not really, but they always come up to me with pictures.
Really?
That is interesting. Yeah. The cell phone pictures, the strange lights and the strange objects in the sky, and it's just really interesting. People carry cell phones with them always, right? So it's really one of these days is really have accessibility of uh to the strange phenomena, and I don't know, maybe they are used to this kind of phenomena. It's not really. I mean, it might not be that wonderful. I mean, that strange one of these days. I don't know. I still find them really, just wonderful. But anyway, to some people, it's more like everyday thing. Just like I don't know. But they were. I should. What I should emphasize here is that they are pretty much more educated, when they're compared back, just like I said, back in the 80s.
Hmm.
So that is the tendency here in Japan. Mm.
Was there any information at the conferences aside from what people told you that was special or uh, interesting?
Well, not really. Just at the conferences, there the audience's favorite topic is still Roswell incident and Area
Really?
51. Yeah, not Japanese cases, but the top three favorite topics are Roswell incident and it, and Area 51 and Santilli film, alien autopsy film.
And well, that's another get into another of the the I mean that I have a friend Erica Lukes and
Yeah.
who has her own show
Hmm.
out of Utah,
Hmm.
and she's done some magnificent shows
Hmm.
deconstructing the
Hmm.
alien autopsy case. That's
Oh, that's good.
um, but uh, well, you also mentioned to me recently, or asked me, I guess maybe this was somebody at the conference.
Hmm.
You said you asked me if I was interested in interviewing a Japanese contactee.
Yeah.
Was this somebody at the conference?
Well, no, actually, but they are not. They were not at the. Well, one of them was at the one conference, which I'm gonna uh introduce here to you guys. Okay. Actually, I can name two right away. One is Mr. Tetsuo Shoji, a born contactee who is starring in a movie called The Gate. The Gate, which is directed by Japanese director here, and I think you can watch it on Hulu or something. Hulu or something. The Gate. The other is Mr. Akinori Kimura, an apple farmer in Aomori Prefecture who is just full of wonder. He experienced abduction a long ago, but has been cultivating a very fruitful relationship with the extraterrestrials, whose information is vital to all mankind and Mother Earth. I interviewed both of them for like, I don't know, several times. And Mr. Kimura is a real McCoy. Really nice, full of wonder. I think I really hope you can talk to him, just personally, in person about what he really is. What is what I understand, what I don't understand is he can communicate. He just doesn't speak English or German, but just he just communicates with the native speakers. I don't know how, but they communicate so naturally. I don't know the ability. I don't know
And
where the ability he's got.
and is there any evidence that you can see of this?
Yes, actually, he showed me a picture of or he doesn't. Okay, let me put it this way: he doesn't talk a lot in front of a very big audience, but just like in the backstage, just talking about well tonight, this is how we handle this show today or stuff like that. So he shows me pictures and he tells me really exclusive information of his own. So let's just say he's credible. It's really credible.
Now, is this the same person who was a couple years ago in the newspapers in Japan called UFO Boy?
I don't think so. No, Mr. Kimura is I don't know. Maybe he is around 70 or something. So 70
Oh, okay,
something.
that's
So
a different case then.
yeah.
Um, so, does he have any photos of the UFOs or the entities or anything like that?
Well, not entities, but he has got this. I don't know. Maybe he's got this particular ability to contact with the so-called extraterrestrials, and he's got memos and illustrations, and he has two other people to back up his experience of abduction. That was just like 20 years ago. One is in France. One woman is in France, and the other is a military. I think he is a soldier in the United States. So these three people were abducted in the same occasion, which happened 20 some years ago.
Now, I'm a little bit confused. Now, this happened in Japan or another country or?
Well, actually, Mr. Kimura was abducted from Japan, right? When he was living in Japan, he is, and on the ship or the spacecraft, in a room, he met a woman and the other man who were both supposed to be Americans. And this woman is currently living in France. I've got this far. This is good. I mean, this information is correct because I heard from a person who did a TV show on this particular case, and the producer or the director of this particular TV show is Mr. Josen Takano, who built Cosmo Isle Hakui in Hakui City and hosted an international conference, just inviting famous astronauts from Russia and from NASA and everything. So it's supposed to be a very big shot in this business or industry here in Japan in Japanese ufology.
Well, let me back up now. Mr.
Sure,
Kimura,
Kimura. Yeah.
yeah, he originally had a contact in an apple orchard. Is that correct?
Yes.
And we're talking in the 1960s, 70s. What time frame?
Or maybe yeah, could have been 80s, but
80s.
yeah, actually he met two other people on the ship, and one is a woman, and the other was a military person.
And these were extraterrestrials or other humans that had been abducted, or what?
Including there were 3 humans abducted, including Mr. Kimura, and all the other on board were extraterrestrials, gray type, he said.
But there were 2 other humans
That's right.
that had been
One was
abducted.
one was woman, and one was the other was a man.
And what is he? Was there communication with the aliens, or what?
Mr. Kimura seemed to have been talking telepathically with the extraterrestrials, and the woman remembers Mr. Kimura talking to her. Don't worry about everything. Everything is just everything will be all right. They're not gonna hurt you or anything. Just that they are not hurting you, and this will be over in a minute or so. So he was just like Mr. Kimura was kind of calming her down on the ship, and Mr. Kimura was communicating telepathically with the extraterrestrials, which whom he called gray types.
But did the aliens communicate anything directly?
Well, he didn't talk about it.
And what is his? So what happened on the ship? Was there any kind of activity on the ship, or
Maybe implant, but he didn't specifically mention about what happened. Maybe the woman had got, I think this is my guess, maybe this is my wild guess, but Mr. Kimura did not have implant, but the woman and the other man had got implant in them. I don't know.
Now, Mr. Kimura is in Japan now, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And the other 2 people, where are they?
I think the woman is in France right now, and I just don't know about the other man. Perhaps Mr. Kimura says perhaps he seemed to be a military person because of this haircut. He could tell that looking at his, this person's haircut was crew cut.
And what do you think about his story? Do you think there's any validity to it?
Well, at least I talked him in person, and Mr. Kimura just doesn't seem to be telling me a lie. There's no reason for it. And his story, I heard this story over and over. He was talking this to me and to other people all the time. And the story always is the same. So he just, maybe he could be telling a big lie, or just maybe this is a fact. This is true story.
Well, it sounds very interesting. Now, he was just, was he giving a lecture at the conference himself?
Yes.
Does he have visuals with his lecture? Does he have illustrations?
Well, actually, he didn't have any visuals or illustrations. I know what you mean, but somehow I think, I do believe him. I do believe what he says, but But as a researcher here, I have to have evidence, right? So that's a dilemma of me right now.
And what is his profession?
He still is a apple farmer, and he is lecturing some kind of his own method of agriculture all over Japan. Traveling all over Japan, and sometimes to the United States.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, it sounds interesting enough. So was he the one that you were suggesting I interview?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I'm interested. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can arrange it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think this is going to be a really interesting one. So I'm gonna try my best to set it up.
Yeah. Wow. It sounds fascinating.
Mhm.
And then now the other person, okay, that's Mr. Kimura, and the other person
Is
was it?
Mr. Tetsuo Shoji.
And what's the difference with his
Well, I
story?
think, yeah, actually, I did 2 interviews for Moon Magazine with him, and I and the other editor, went to his home, and we were talking about his stuff, and he has got all of the evidence, you know, just like a stone. He says just like a stone. He has this stone about this big, and this is what I've got when I was on mothership from Saturn, planet Saturn. See? So
That's great.
yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
well, it can be crazy. I mean, it can be crazy. So I am interested in him from different aspect, you know what I mean? So I'm not telling you, I'm gonna debunk his story right here, but well, I should say his story has got a lot of holes. See what I mean? So
Maybe.
that's right. So what I'm trying to explain here is I have got two opposite, two very two examples, this side and this side, and they are this far. So actually, when it comes to contactees, I always bring these names every time.
Hmm. Now, does Mr. going back to Mr. Kimura for a moment,
Mhm.
does he claim
Sure.
that this abductions continue up to the present?
Uh, I think I heard, uh, personally, I heard 2 stories of abduction involving himself. I think so. Naturally, he got abducted at least 2 times.
And does he have any theory why he was abducted? What do these beings want? Why are they
I
doing
just
this?
don't know why, but
He
when it
doesn't.
comes to contactees or abductees, I heard, well, actually, I have seen several contactees or abductees in the United States, uh, during my career. But well, what do you think? What do you think about abductees? Personally, do you believe them?
I'm on the fence.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. Mm.
I
That's what
believe
would like to
I
hear.
accept the UFO phenomena. There is a real
Yeah.
phenomenon because I had a
Hmm.
experience when I was a
Hmm.
child also.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Uh, but the abduction thing, I want to see more evidence.
That's right.
I'm
They're
not too
completely
sure.
different stories, right? Just from we should separate UFO phenomena from on those abductee stories, right? Mm.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical, but I still like to hear the stories and make up my own
Sure. Yeah.
mind.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and well, why don't we? Yeah, if we could do an interview with Mr. Kimura and the
Hmm.
other guy, that would be
Hmm.
fantastic. I would really be
Yeah. Sure.
interested
Yeah. We'll
in
try
that.
that. Hmm.
Um, now, let's go, if we could, to your recent visit in Okayama, which you were
Sure. Yeah.
talking about.
Okay. I have been to Okayama as a prefecture to look into several interesting, exciting cases that happened more than 60 years ago. This is this is an abductee case too, but I'm glad you bring that up here. And Okayama is a very interesting place as long as UFO phenomena have been concerned. This particular story involves a theoretical physicist, a deceased politician who once served as a director general of the Science and Technology Agency in Japan, a couple of local high school teachers, and a lot of other witnesses here. And just like I mentioned, Okayama Prefecture is a place full of wonder when it comes to UFO phenomena. And I am trying to gather as much information as possible. And at the same time, I have been processing all the pieces of information I've got so far. And I did an article for Moon Magazine already, and which will appear in February issue of Moon Magazine. I think it's in the month. So this is really interesting case of the abduction. Famous person, just like the actually, I can tell the name of the persons are here, and the theoretical physicist his name is Mr. Kunio Yasue, Mr. Yasue, Professor or Dr. Yasue, and the politician who got involved in this story is he just like he passed away like last July or something. His name is Satsuki Eda. And like I told you, and he once served as a Director General of the Science and Technology Agency. And this is a this is an abductee case, and I should say close encounter of the fifth kind case, which occurred in Okayama Prefecture several decades ago. And the abduction, who was abducted was the teacher, math teacher of Mr. Eda. And Mr. Eda and Dr. Yasue went to the same high school in Okayama City. And Okayama City is a hot spot, or was, or has been a hot spot of UFO phenomena, all kinds of UFO phenomena. So I just needed to look into the incidents and gather as much information as I can. So I'm just working on it, and actually I could write a book about this case. So
really,
yeah, this is really big one.
wow.
So I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna send you all the information, detailed information, because you are interested in Japanese UFO case. I can tell you, so that I'm glad to do that. Once I process all the information so far. So I think you would be interested pretty much in that, right? So
Yeah, it sounds very intriguing. So this
mm,
was a teacher that was abducted,
that's right.
a
And
science
just
teacher?
Mr. Eda said this, the abduction of the teacher, he said that this abduction thing kept on happening regularly, just like I don't know, maybe twice a month, or once a week, or it's Saturday. Hey, it's Saturday. Hey, UFO night or something like that. you know, that was not that was not that strange to him. Mm,
Now, the teacher is deceased, correct?
that's right. Yes,
So how were you getting the information? From what source?
Mr.
My
Eda told Mr. Eda told his personal experience to Mr. Josen Takano and Mr. Yasue.
I see.
Dr. Yasue was alumni of the Mr. Era and Mr. Dr. Yasue went to the same high school, so maybe
Hmm.
they got some kind of connection there.
Wow.
Mm.
It sounds very interesting.
Mm.
And
But just the information, right? I have so far it's kind of messed up, so I have to really process it and present it to you. Mm.
yeah, I would love to hear more in the future
Mm-hmm.
as you have material.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't I ask you
Mm-hmm.
what is the attitude of the Japanese government on
Mm-hmm.
UFOs? What do they
Mm-hmm.
say
Mm-hmm.
about UFOs? And can people get documents of sightings from the
Mm.
military? Is that
Mm-hmm.
something that's possible?
Mm.
Can you comment on that?
Well, you know, in the United States, people are getting seriously about UFO or UAP, right? But here, unfortunately, not a lot of people are excited as about UFOs as I am or you are, and some politicians are taking this seriously, but they won't bother to try to get documents from the military or civil airlines. That's the problem. It's not that it's not that hot topic yet here. You know what I mean? But just like I mentioned, in the United States, there were hearings, right? And the Congress hearings about UAP, and
Right.
yeah, there was a official report of this kind of phenomena. So I think people in the U.S. are more seriously about it, or at least taking the phenomena seriously, more seriously when they're compared to Japanese people. That's what I think.
Well, are you working on any other projects now besides the abduction case that you
Well,
mentioned
actually,
that you could
my
talk
hands
about?
are, yeah, my hands are full on Okayama case. So, and
Exactly.
but I'm pretty much interested in crypto tourism in and about Japan, in and out in Japan, out of Japan right now, and that will include a lot of travel. And I like it that way, that kind of life, just gathering informations and pieces of informations traveling through Japan. So I'm pretty much into it right now. I just the work with Moo Magazine will be my bread and butter. Mm.
And are you now you've been appearing on a podcast
Mhm.
on YouTube called the Namiki Mystery Channel.
That is correct.
And I've watched some of those. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. Namiki Mystery Channel is hosted by Shinichiro Namiki, I mentioned before, and he is the most prominent UFO researcher in Japan of all time, I think. And he deals with all kinds of unexplainable phenomena, especially UAP, if I may use the up-to-date language. And we get together once a month to film an episode, and sometimes we go live. That's what we do for that channel.
Yeah, I've watched some of the episodes and I enjoy it.
Okay.
Um,
Mhm.
so uh, how if people want to contact you, is there a way to do that,
Yeah.
or a website, or
Just look for Namiki Mystery Channel on YouTube. Mhm. And some of the episodes are subtitled in English, so you know.
but I mean, if people want to contact you directly, do you want to share how they could do that, or
I think I should be contacted through the editorial department of Moo Magazine.
okay? And that's how I
Mhm.
contacted you.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Works that way.
yeah, I want to again, thank you for all the hard work you've done. It's been amazing, and it's been so long.
Thank you so much.
And
I'm glad to hear that. We'll do
yeah,
this again, right?
this is just incredible, and
Yeah.
I really am glad that we're helping making this subject international
Yeah.
and go beyond always hearing about what's happening in the United States. There's a whole planet to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful that we've been able to do this finally.
That's right.
And,
That's right. Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
sorry, again, I'm so sorry to rather long time to realize this. I'm so sorry.
Well, I take, it was it was a big project, and it is difficult. You would think, it's easy to interview people in other countries. And that's what I thought in the beginning, but I've discovered it is difficult. It's not that easy. That's why we see so many American interviews. It's much more difficult to do international interviews, especially if you go outside of the English-speaking countries.
Oh, yes, that is correct. Yes.
And which interests me more, because I think it's important to see what's happening in the rest of the world. Is the same phenomena happening in the rest of the world? Well, you can imagine it is.
Yeah, that's right.
It's interesting to hear what people have to report and compare and find differences and unique characteristics. Anyway,
I know what you mean.
Again, I want to thank you for a fantastic interview.
Oh, thank you, Peter.
And I hope we can do more in the future.
Yes, definitely.
Domo arigato gozaimasu.
De nada.
Correct? Domo arigato gozaimasu.
That's great. Yeah.
Is that close?
はい。That's it. どういたしましてありがとうございます。
Okay, Watsu, thank you very much and have
Thank
a
you so
great
much,
day.
Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yep. Bye-bye.